In a kingdom wrapped in golden light, lived a prince who owned the night, not the stars, nor moon above, but silent halls that lacked all love. His crown was carved from ancient gold, but his young heart was tired and old, for every gem that shone so bright was bought with loneliness each night. The palace sang with silver cheer, but never once did laughter near. The marble floors were cold as snow, like the heart he dared not show. Servants bowed and trumpets cried, yet emptiness walked at his side. 1,000 voices called his name, but none who knew his hidden flame. Behind the throne, behind the wall, he hid the tears that dared to fall. A prince to all, so brave, so tall, a broken boy unseen by all. At dawn he wore his royal face, a mask of calm, of perfect grace. But when the night took back the sky, he let the silent sorrow cry. His window faced the distant sea, where waves were wild, where hearts were free. He whispered to the restless foam, "Why does my palace feel no home?" The stars looked down but gave no sign. The moonlight traced his jawline fine. A single tear slid down his cheek, a truth no royal dared to speak. "I have the power, land, and throne, yet every night I'm still alone. What worth is silk and jeweled art, if emptiness devours the heart?" The wind replied with mournful tone, a sound as sad as his own groan. It carried through the silver air the weight of grief he could not share. In gardens where the roses grew, their petals held the morning dew. He saw in every trembling drop a tear his pride could never stop. The fountains danced, the birds would sing, but joy to him meant nothing. For songs that rise from throats of gold can't warm a soul grown dark and cold. His father, king of iron will, believed that strength was silent still. "Princes do not weep," he'd say. "Let weakness never lead your way." So young the prince had learned to hide the storm that raged and swelled inside. He built his smile like castle stone, and ruled a world, but not his own. One night beneath the shadowed sky, he did not wipe the tears that cry. He let them fall like summer rain, a quiet rebellion against pain. They fell upon his royal hand, like pearls not made by any land. Each drop a word he never said, each tear a dream already dead. "I wanted not the crown or sword, nor endless praise, nor fear, nor lord. I only wished for arms that stay, when all the lights have gone away." His voice was small, the night was vast. The present chained him to the past, where once a child with hopeful eyes believed in love, not grand disguise. He remembered days of running free, before the weight of destiny, before the tutors, laws, and lies taught him how a prince must rise. Back then his tears were wiped away, by gentle hands at end of day, but time had stolen that embrace, and left him with a hollow place. The corridors of painted kings echoed with forgotten things. Their portraits stared with lifeless gaze, as if they knew his hidden maze. Did you too cry behind your pride? Did oceans break that you would hide? Or were you stone, as legends claim, untouched by sorrow, loss, or shame? No answer came from frames of gold, only silence, dark and cold. A silence heavier than chains, a silence filled with ancient pains. He walked the halls with careful tread, where ghostly memories softly bled. Every step a lonely beat, of royal heart and tired feet. A mirror stood with crystal clear, reflecting truth he feared to hear. A prince adorned in silk and light, with eyes that drowned in endless night. He touched the glass with trembling hand, as if to free that silent man. "Who are you behind the name? Without the throne, without the fame?" A tear slid down the mirrored face, breaking through his proud disguise, and for a moment, just one breath, he did not fear the word weakness. For tears, he felt, were not defeat, but proof a heart could still feel beat, proof that beneath the royal art still lived a soft and human heart. The night grew deep, the candles low, their fading flames began to bow. Like him, they burned in quiet pain, giving light, yet losing flame. He sank beside the window wide, let all the royal armor slide, and cried not as a prince of land, but as a boy who needs a hand. His tears fell down like silver thread, stitching wounds he never said. Each drop a truth he once denied, each sob the child he locked inside. And in that storm of silent grief, he felt a strange and soft relief, as if the tears had washed away a little darkness of the day. For even princes, dressed in might, are fragile souls in human light, and crowns, no matter how they shine, cannot stop a heart's decline. So let the prince beneath the sky learn that even royals cry, that tears are not a shameful scar, but proof of who we truly are. One evening wrapped in amber light, when day was losing to the night, the prince escaped the courtly noise and walked alone without his poise. No guards behind, no crown, no name, no royal mask, no courtly game, just simple cloth of midnight blue, and weary eyes the world never knew. Beyond the gates, past ivy walls, where no command nor title calls, a quiet village slept in peace, where simple hearts knew soft release. Their laughter rose from doors of clay, from lives too small for pride's display, from hands that worked and hearts that shared a kind of joy the palace spared. The prince stood still upon the road, as if he'd found a secret code. How can they smile with lives so small, while I, with all, feel none at all? A lantern flickered near a stream, its golden light a living dream. Beside it sat a girl alone, with voice as soft as twilight's tone. She sang, not loud, not meant for show, but like a place where sorrows go, a melody both worn and sweet, like tired hearts that finally meet. The prince drew close but stayed unseen, half in shadow, half between the world he ruled with iron hand and this small, gentle, glowing land. Her dress was plain, her hands were worn, like roses that outlive the thorn. Yet in her eyes, so deep, so wide, he saw no greed, no fear, no pride. She noticed him. A quiet stare, not shocked, not shy, just simply aware, as if she saw through cloth and skin to all the storms that roared within. You walk like someone lost, she said, her voice where warmth and calmness spread. Not lost in roads, but lost in thought, like something precious can't be caught. The prince had faced both blade and war, but never words that reached so far. He tried to speak in guarded tone. I'm fine. Just needed time alone. She smiled. Not fooled, but not unkind. A lonely heart is loud, you'll find. It echoes through the quiet air, even when lips say, I don't care. He sat upon the wooden beam, beside the silver-threaded stream. For once no one knelt at his side. No one feared the rank he'd hide. What do you see? He dared to ask, still half concealed in habit's mask. In someone you don't know at all, a stranger paused beside your wall. She looked not at his clothes or face, but at the sorrow he'd embrace. I see a boy who learned too soon to hide his heart beneath the moon. The words broke something locked and sealed, a wound no crown had ever healed. His breath grew thin, his voice unsure, as truth stepped out, raw and pure. I am a prince, he said at last, the present chained to royal past. She did not bow nor gasp in fear. She only said, then why the tear? No, your highness. No grand display, just simple truth in simple way, as if a prince was still a man, not some untouchable command. They think I have the world, he said, but every night I lie like dead, in rooms too big, in sheets too wide, with no one seeing what I hide. She dipped her hand into the stream, let water catch the lantern gleam. Even rivers, strong and wide, carry silent tears inside. He watched her fingers trace the flow, so calm, so sure, so soft, so slow. How do you speak as if you know the weight of things you never show? She laughed, but gently, without sting. Pain does not ask if you're a king. It visits huts and thrones the same, just wears a different coat of name. The prince felt walls begin to fall, stone by stone inside his wall. For here was someone who could see the boy he was, not royalty. My tears, he whispered, voice undone, feel like proof that I have none of the strength a prince should own, that I am weak upon the throne. She shook her head, the lantern's glow making constellations slow across her eyes so brave and clear. Only the strong allow a tear. A heart that feels, that breaks, that bends, is one that lives, not just pretends. Stone does not cry. It does not care, but living souls must sometimes tear. The night grew thick, the world grew small, just stream and song and truth and all. The prince forgot the weight of gold. The girl forgot the world was cold. For in that space by lantern light, wrong and right lost need to fight, and two lone hearts, from worlds apart, sat close enough to hear each heart. "What is your name?" the prince then said, soft as dreams before they're dead. She smiled like dawn through silver mist. "I'm Lyra, someone time almost missed." "Lyra," he breathed, as if the sound was something holy he had found, a name that did not bow or shine, yet felt more precious than a crown of mine. She rose to leave, the song now done, the fragile hour before the sun. "Go back," she said, "to where you're bound, but don't forget what you have found." "What have I found?" he asked in plea. She turned beside the waking tree. "You found the boy you used to be, the one your tears have set free." And as she walked into the dawn, the prince felt something shift, reborn. His tears no longer burned like shame, but glowed like embers, soft with flame. For someone saw and did not turn, someone knew, and let him learn that crowns may rule the outer lands, but healing rests in human hands. The sun rose pale on palace stone, but he returned not as before. The weight he carried through the gate was lighter than the night of fate. The guards saluted, heads bent low, yet something in his step would show, not pride, not sorrow tightly sealed, but quiet wounds now partly healed. He touched the throne with steady hand, the symbol of a silent land, and for the first time did not feel like iron bound him to its steel. For in his chest a lantern burned, from words a village girl had turned, a flame that whispered, soft and slow, "You are allowed to feel and grow." That day the court began to speak of how the prince seemed less antique, less statue carved of royal air, more human in his gaze and stare. He listened when the farmers came, not just to law, but to their pain. He saw in eyes both old and worn the same deep ache he'd always borne. "Lower the tax," he gently said. "Let hunger not be daily bread. A kingdom stands not just on might, but how it treats the ones with night." The council stirred in mild surprise. This softness did not fit their eyes, but in his tone was something strong, a strength that comes from right, not wrong. That evening when the stars returned, his restless heart again yearned, not for gold nor courtly art, but for the girl who knew his heart. He left once more in simple guise, no royal silk, no jeweled disguise. The road now felt less cold, less far, for hope can guide like northern star. The village breathed in twilight's blue, smoke and bread and evening dew, and there beside the quiet stream still lived the place of lantern dream. But Lyra was not singing there, no silver song upon the air, only the water's steady tone and wind that hummed a sound alone. His chest grew tight with sudden fear, as if he'd lost something dear. Had hope been just a fragile thread, a dream his lonely heart had bred? An old woman by the well stood near, with eyes that time had made sincere. "You seek the girl with twilight voice?" He nodded, robbed of careful choice. "She works where hills and wildflowers grow, where wounded things are brought to slow. She mends the wing, she binds the bone, she hates to see a soul alone." The prince walked paths of rising land, dust and grass beneath his hand, until he saw in meadow wide a sight that pulled his breath aside. Lyra knelt in morning's glow, beside a deer struck long ago. Her hands were red, her brow with care, as if the creature's pain was hers to bear. She spoke to it in whispered tone, the same soft strength the prince had known. "Stay with me, little heart, stay near. The world is cruel, but I am here." He stood as still as winter air, watching love laid open there. Not loud, not praised, not crowned above, just quiet, stubborn, healing love. She looked up then, their eyes met fast, no shock, as if she'd known he'd pass. "You came," she said, with simple grace, like sunrise finding its own place. "I had to," was his honest plea. "For something here has woken me, a part one thought was long since gone, buried beneath the royal dawn." She smiled but turned back to her task. No worship in her gaze to ask. Then help, she said. Don't only see, if your heart wakes, let your hands be. So prince and girl beside the field worked where pain refused to yield. He held the bandage, firm but kind, left royal distance far behind. Blood-stained fingers once so clean, grass-marked clothes once rarely seen. Yet never had he felt so sure that what he did was right and pure. The deer at last gave trembling breath, pulled back a step from edge of death. Its dark eyes met the prince's own. A silent thanks, a truth full-grown. Why do you do this? He then asked, watching her in sunlight masked. For creatures small, for broken things, when none will crown such offerings. She tied the cloth with careful art, then looked at him, not throne but heart. Because the world has enough who take, be someone who will stay and ache. Her words fell deep, like seeds in rain, sprouting through his years of pain. And in that field, beneath wide sky, the prince at last forgot to hide. Not from the world. Not yet, not still, but from himself, his frozen will. The tears that once were locked in shame now felt like part of living flame. And far below, beyond their sight, the kingdom stirred in changing light. For when a heart upon the throne learns to feel, no one stands alone.